Good evening, everyone. My name is Lawrence Hardge. I'm the founder and CEO of EV Global Technology Incorporated, and I'm also the CEO of Hardge EV Global Washington, D.C. Today I'm here to make a special announcement. I did a partnership with Mullen's Automotive that's based out of Brea, California. They have other additional locations in Indianapolis, Michigan, and in Tunica, Mississippi. I'm proud to announce that I have partnered with them with their technology. And I'm going to be brief today, but I want to give you guys some facts. What is the facts that I give is documented. And as you know, Mullens is a publicly traded company, and you're always under the spotlight and you're always being watched. So whatever you say, the SEC is monitoring it, and whatever you represent, it should be factual and nothing less. I'm not here I want to make sure I give you this disclaimer. I'm not here promoting stock investments, none of the above. I'm just providing an update as a new partner with Mullens. You make your decision based on what you feel comfortable with. But I just want to make sure in no shape or form am I here to raise stock value. What I will say, regardless of whatever may have been going on with Mullens and the timing of Mullens, all of that has changed. Mullens is moving forward. My job is to make sure that they follow through on the promises and commitments that they have made. They have brought in a great team, a lot of engineers, some of the top in the country, and I admire them for that because they're kind of like myself. Keep quiet until you're ready to go. Don't call people to the kitchen to get a slice of the cake when it's still in the oven. Have them to come and get a slice when it's ready to go. And that's my motto, you know, because the cake may not come out right. It might be all puffed up, leaning over. Some of y'all know Grandma sometimes cook the cake and it's all puffed up, and she said, nobody eat my cake till I get it right. And that's how I am when it comes to business. And most of all, I want to give a special thanks to David Mush, the CEO of Mullens, and also James Taylor, the Chief Operating Officer of Mullens, for giving me an opportunity. This is not something, everyone, that we just woke up one morning, they say, hire Lawrence Hardge. There's a process. We've gone through numerous tests, validations. I mean, I was picked up because I had already gone through the proper certifications, the various tests, real-time tests with our vehicles. We're not talking about some rosy dyno test where you run the vehicles at 25 miles or 35 miles, no lights on, none of that, and then get EPA approval and say that the car goes 250 miles. And then when a person buys a car, it gets close to that as long as it's one passenger. So I understand the battery anxiety, what we have when you buy an electric car. So my goal and objectives was, hey, I own a Tesla, I own a Chevy Bolt, I own a Porsche, all type of electric vehicles. And I'm not here to slander anyone, say anything negative about the big three. I have introduced our technology to them. They liked it and so forth. But you got to look at also, these companies have invested hundreds of millions of dollars in batteries and all end up with the same results. So for some of you tech guys, let me explain something to you today, because I keep it real and I don't sugarcoat anything. You can build a battery the size of an 18-wheeler trailer. You're never going to get a car to run 1,000 miles off a battery. Number one, batteries do not store energy. They house energy, and it's depleted as you go when you're in a total electric vehicle. It's not like a combustible engine in a combustible car where you have an alternator. As long as there's gas in the car, the alternator is going to run until you run out of gas. The battery in the car is only there to start the car. Once you start the car, the battery applications is no longer needed. So what I created Everyone was investing all this money trying to build a better battery. So when I come along, it's kind of like when we introduced this, the companies were happy, but they were not happy. They have to explain to their shareholders, we invested 20, 30 million, hundreds of millions in a battery. And how do we explain to our shareholder, some garage inventor out of Mississippi come up with a technology that cuts the battery cost in half and extends the battery technology mileage and distance from 75 to 300% based on the technology. So when I come to Mullen, I say, listen, this is how we're gonna do this. We're not gonna make no rosy announcements to impress the shareholders. I wanna give them the facts and the truth, okay? Although our tests on some occasions may show that we've done 300 miles, 400 miles, but these was real time. And after this interview today, I want you to look around when you start seeing electric cars. 99% of the time when an electric car passes you, you probably only see one passenger. You never see two passengers. You never see three passengers. You never see four passengers. You got four doors, but there's always one passenger. The Hardge way, the Hardge charge, 4 passengers. We test these vehicles in all type of elements of weather: cold weather, hot weather, hills of mountains in Tennessee, mountains in Georgia, mountains in Colorado, downhill, uphill, in traffic, sitting still for hours. And the results come out the same. So I suggested, if you put that sticker on that window, it better well do what you represent, because customers are buying something based on what you present to them. If I buy this cell phone and you tell me it gives A rated pictures, and I buy this cell phone and it's only giving me C rated pictures, you're gonna be upset with the person who sold it to you and also the manufacturers who made these claims. And you can't always say, oh, it's gonna give a good photo based on the elements of where you're taking the picture. And this is what they say with the electric cars. And they're truthful to say that, but in this case, under promise, but over deliver. So if you buy a car that was built the Hardge way, and you say that car gives you 350 miles to a charge, and that's with 4 passengers, we're not talking about 1, or if it gives you 400 miles, and you live in Colorado, you only get 350, which we promise, but however, in Colorado, you may live in a certain location where the mountain, and you're getting 600 miles, you're gonna go to social media and say, hey, I bought a car, and they said they only get 350, but I'm getting 600 miles, and I live in Colorado. You're gonna be happy, you're gonna give A1 reviews. If you got a car, you live in Texas, and it's flat land, 4 passengers at night, and you get 800 miles, but we only promise you 350, you're gonna love this brand, okay? And it's quality. And some of y'all know, coming out, this was a challenge, okay? Number one, people say like he was a loser, and it's like Abraham Lincoln, he ran for president numerous times, and he lost every election to the one time he won. He won the election. So I don't want to do business with people who never fail. I want to do business with people that will fail trying to get where we are today, because they know we're going to try it this time. And it may be funny, but if you knew how many, some of the inventions that I have, if you knew how many labs I blew up and walls and windows that blew up because I touched the wrong wire, or I tried this and tried that, it's called determination. Okay, so this is where we are. Now, let's get to Mullins. I just want to give you guys a synopsis with me on the test before I go to about Mullins. Most of the tests for the electric vehicles, they have an EPA requirement. Okay, 35, 40 miles. Tesla can attest to this. So when I brought my vehicles, matter of fact, people say, well, why the automotive company jumped at it? Well, I couldn't say anything when people asking questions because they had me on a non-disclosure and an NDA and a non-compete from Ford Germany, Ford USA. I couldn't even discuss anything until the NDA expired. Now the NDA has expired. So I can honestly say I met with Ford. Ford is the reason why I ended up going to Element. They asked me to retrofit a golf cart. I never even played golf. I couldn't tell you anything about a golf cart. But they said if you can retrofit a golf cart because it's direct current, no generated assistance, no kinetic energy, it's straight direct current. The average golf cart gives you about maybe 4 hours a day, maybe 6 because you stop and go. But they didn't tell me when I built my golf cart to run the test that they was gonna run it full throttle. Feet to the full, lights on, full throttle. And they got 26.6 hours with the golf cart, which was non-stop. That wasn't good enough. They brought a Polaris in, 6-passenger Polaris that normally runs 4 hours. Nobody driving up and down the golf carts or at Disneyland at full throttle, but they ran mine's full throttle. And they got 7 hours and 42 minutes, which is close to 300% better than what's out there now, including a golf cart. When we come about the Chevy Volt, all of these things I bought myself because the automotive companies, if they had provided me with these vehicles, they would own the rights to the technology. So I would purchase their vehicles. They knew what the baseline tests of their vehicles were, so that it wouldn't be no misunderstanding. We would do a baseline without their products on it, and then we would turn around and install my products and do the comparison. Some of you guys all know about the Chevy Volt. They ran into problems with the battery provider. They made announcements that do not park the Chevy Volt in any parking garages because they was catching on fire. There was issues with the Chevy Volt when you charge it and you plug it in the wall, it catches on fire. I met with some of these companies and I solved the problem. I solved the Chevy Volt problem. It was properly tested in the reports. Environment engineers, Department of Commerce, all of them, NDA, they signed off on the test reports and they signed off on the NDAs explaining what they were going to do. In our report, it indicates not one time that we had to shut the Chevy Volt down. Not one time did it catch fire, overheating. Okay? So what it means, you have to do consistency tests. Let me explain to some of you guys so you can understand this. When you run tests, you have to run numerous tests. You can't go in mass production unless the test results are consistent. It's like this cell phone. You can't mass produce a cell phone unless all the tests are consistent. And then you can go in mass production. Then you have to go to your manufacturers. Then you have to go through OSHA to make sure that when you bring something to the public, it doesn't harm the consumer. And this is why you have a lot of recalls, because sometimes we try to save a lot of money and cut costs with the products. So what we're doing, we're not using aftermarket products. We're going to do a franchise, whereas everyone that utilizes this technology is getting the same quality part. You can't go and allow China to go replicate this and put some cheap product on a good car. Okay, that's not the Hardge way, and that's not the Hardge brand. Okay, so some of you question about Tesla when I say we're going to be the next Tesla. Let me explain this to you, and let me explain this about batteries with Tesla. I own a Tesla. I retrofitted a Tesla. Only thing that I could not do with this Tesla, because Tesla has a lock on their software. So you can't get around that unless Tesla give you the code. But all the other American vehicles and all of that, I could unlock their software just like you unlock a cell phone. You can put T-Mobile, AT&T, whomever, and it works the same. And our product is classified as an aftermarket product. Let me explain that to you. An aftermarket product is like you buy the cell phone and you put this case on it. It does not affect the cell phone. It just makes it look better. Our product is plug and play, so no one has to alter their system. They don't have to change their battery or anything. It's plug and play, and it regulates, and actually what it is, it's an all-electric alternator. And that's why you get the mileage. So what happens is, if you have an alternator and you have batteries, and it's holding the energy, not storing it in the battery, but it takes the load off the battery so that it never overheats. If you buy a Ford Mustang and give it to your child, come on y'all, let's be real. The first thing they're gonna do is get in that car and drive it full throttle. And when they run the battery down, they're going straight home, plug it in the wall, so they could do the same thing. The batteries hadn't even cooled off yet. And you plug it in the wall. What do you expect to happen when a battery overheats? When your cell phone gets hot, it shuts down. What is a car supposed to do when it runs hot in the battery? It's going to shut down. Not only that, depending on the temperature, there's going to be an explosion, and it's going to burn your house down. So basically, the system we have in our test results, the batteries never overheated. Matter of fact, it never even used 100% of the batteries. So it's always rejuvenated. Okay? So once again, with that new technology, now everyone don't look at it like, oh, I did something out of the norm. What I did was I thought outside of the box. Okay? We're not living. When Einstein and Thomas Edison was working on electricity, we didn't have electric cars. When Ford worked with the T model, there was not electric cars, there was points. We went from points system with the carburetor and then fuel injection. So this is the future of tomorrow. When the Wright brothers came out with the planes, people thought they were crazy. But now you can fly a plane from one end of the country to the other. And eventually, without giving out too much information, you soon going to see all electric planes. Yeah, you might be laughing, but it's in the works, okay? Electric wheelchairs, and then let's go a little further. The Hardge way. Yes, everybody's concerned about the grid. You got all these charging stations, okay? But the technology I created is solving the grid problem, not just for cars, but for electricity. So when I first come out with it, well, you want to know why it took almost 20, 30 years. Everybody was trying to shut it down. They never wanted to see it hit the marketplace. The big corporations that invest a lot of money in it, and they didn't want to see this happen. And then, not only that, not a country boy, a garage inventor from Mississippi, when they don't pay millions of dollars to the engineers to come up with solve a problem, and some boy by the river, where the Civil War ended, came up with the solution. But thankful, the right people got behind me, senators, congressmen, Department of Energy. I mean, the list goes on. And Mullins gave me a chance. Mullins, like the underdog. I saw their reviews where people were, oh, this and that with Mullins. Look, it takes a lot of money to get here. Mullins walked in a situation where I had very few people in my pocket because nobody believed in me. And Mullins gave me that chance. And when they gave me that chance, I proved out everything that they saw on paper. Now keep in mind, every company I dealt with, they didn't even care what the independent test was. They was kind of disturbed by it because they knew once this got in the right hands and people accepted it, that it was going to change the world, which it is, okay? So Mullins gave that opportunity, and we've proven this, we tested it, and I give special thanks to that, okay? And I'm talking to you guys because a lot of people's wondering why didn't the inventors speak? We just sent it out paper press release. So tomorrow, I'm gonna give you a heads up, I'm gonna be in Detroit. And we're gonna do it live in Detroit with Mullins, and you're gonna see what we're doing with the vehicles. They are ready. We're gonna be there and show you that. We're not talking about making an announcement, raise $200 million, and then come back and say, oh, it'll be ready in 23, 24. No, it's already approved. We're going in production. We're meeting the demands of all of their customers. And I'm proud to be a part of it. I'm proud to make history. Then come Monday, there's another press release going out, okay? And Monday is the granddaddy of what I created and what I'm doing. And I'm happy to have Mullins on my team because, see, I'm wise enough to know I could not handle this with 8 people on my team. This is going to require at least 800 people or more to keep up with the demands. And now, in closing, I'm not at liberty to discuss my compensation. Mullins is a public traded company. They have to discuss my compensation. But I can surely say this to you. I will not be eating any more 4-for-4s anymore, okay? So that explains everything. And I won't be driving a car that backfire anymore. Matter of fact, I'm not anymore anyway. I'm running out of space for my cars, but I'm still humble. okay? And those that laughed at me and blasted me and thought I was like the boy that cried wolf, oh, you don't have nothing, you don't have nothing. Mullins, thank you. Because all I hear is crickets now. When those tests came back, all we hear is crickets. And now Mullins, thank you. Yes, we will be the next Tesla. And not only that, we're going to let Saudi Arabia make their announcement, okay? And I'm at liberty to say this because I had this on the table before Mullins come in. But now Mullins our partner. And this is not what somebody said or what you heard. This is reality. $10 billion contract with Saudi Arabia and more to come. Now let Saudi Arabia make the announcement in the next 2 weeks. And if they're going to put it on the Saudi Arabia Stock Exchange, they would have to make the announcement, whatever they decide to do. Mullins and Lawrence Hardge is here to assist them. They have countries like Yemen, Israel, all of them have joined in to take this technology, and they're going to produce it in Saudi Arabia, and they're also paying for a manufacturing plant to come to Michigan. That's in black and white. So the SEC, if you're watching, that's already agreed upon. So you don't have to come back and say anything was misrepresented. So Mullins, I love you. A shout out to my brother, Michael Hardge. He graduated from the Texas Institute in power management, power distribution. He works right next to me. He's a preacher. That man was with me when I couldn't afford a hot dog. My brother, I want to say I love you. When there was times I wanted to give up, he said, man, God chose you. He wants you to help the poor. He wants you to help the needy. He wants you to give back to the people who don't have. He didn't give this gift to you for you to just hog it and go out and showboat and talk about how wealthy you are around people who don't have. He gave it to you just like in the Bible, where the people on the water, Jesus brought a basket of bread and fed many. So I'm going to exercise my gift. God, I don't know why you chose me. You could have chose a whole lot, just like Moses. He didn't want to go tell Pharaoh to let his people go. He said, Pharaoh, cut his head off. And the good Lord said, take me with you. If you ask who sent you, tell him the great I am. So if you ask me who gave me the gift, God gave it to me. So if you mad about the gift that he gave me, take it up with him. Because he gave me the gift. Because I'm from Mississippi where you shoot marbles and fry fish, eat chitlins and all that good stuff. And now all of a sudden I never even imagined this. But hey, I'm still humble. And one thing you're going to get from Lawrence Hardge is the truth. And let me elaborate on something else. It's very painful to say this, but over 30 years ago, something happened to me in Mississippi and I'll never forget for the rest of my life. Matter of fact, the legendary Johnny Cochran was representing me. If you Google Raymond Sarlott, he owned the Hollywood Marymount Hotel with John Belushi OD'd. He introduced me to President Reagan. I hung out at Burt Reynolds' house, all those his neighbors in Laurel Canyon. And he was Jewish. And he said, Lawrence, you are chosen. You can't be afraid. You got to go out and do it. And on his deathbed in LA, he said, Lawrence, I know you're going to do this. I know you're scared. I said, I can't do it. Who's going to believe me? He said, I said, y'all didn't believe you. Johnny Cochran, all of them came to my garage in South Central LA where helicopters was flying so low above my house, the pictures was falling off the wall. Every day there was a murder in South Central. Every day you see black men covered up, killing one another. The list goes on. And I came from South Central and I made it. And Johnny Cochran, I'll never forget. And some of the companies was trying to put a lot of pressure on me to share what I had in the 90s. I filed a patent, 1993. It was issued in 1996, the day after it was issued. I was at my house. I had just got served an eviction notice. And I thought it was the landlord knocking on my door telling me I had to go, to get out. I would not answer the door. I didn't know what I was going to do. I lost my wife, everything. My wife thought I was a fool for believing in this. I quit my job at General Electric so they went on what I invented. I just got beat up by everybody. And they just knock, everything. Child support was on me. He said, you behind on child support, you don't hurry up and pay us, we're going to arrest you. And they kept knocking on the door all day. And then I said, maybe they saw me sneaking in. And when I opened the door, it was the neighbors. Say, Lawrence, there's some folks from New York been calling you all day at our house. They want you to call them. I said, what? Because I found open the door. I just said, the hell with it. If they're going to put me out, they're going to put me out. I opened the door. He said, call them. I went to call the number. They said, Mr. Hardge, we want you in New York tomorrow. I said, how do I get to New York? I don't have $5. Don't worry. We send a car to pick you up and fly you to New York. I told them, I said, man, I got to be here. They're going to put my stuff out. They said, you get to New York, nobody's putting anything out. Putting nothing out of your house. I go to New York, I fly there, I get there, Fidelity Holdings. They pay my rent, they pay my back child support, bought me a new car, a home. I signed a multi-million-dollar deal. And then as time progressed, their stocks went up extremely high, making announcements. And all they wanted me to do is sit in the office and just look out of the window and think. They didn't want me to do nothing else but sit in the office. Every day, some broke his house, some executive was coming, just want to talk about what I'd done. And I told them, I didn't sign a contract just to look out of the window. They said, what do you care? You did a multi-million-dollar deal, you got a big salary, we got you a house, we do. And you said, that's not good enough. No, it's not. I want to give back and help my people. And I'll never forget, Johnny Cocker would say, Hardge, they want to buy you out, they want you to shelve it. I said, I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm not selling. It's for the people. And this is true story. I got a movie deal and a book deal behind what is taking place. And I said, I can't do this. And the next thing I look up, he said, Mr. Hardge, I'm already a millionaire. I'm in New York. You remember 5 years ago when you started a company in Mississippi and you sold some shares on the Blue Sky Law? I said, well, I didn't sell anything. They had people running it. Well, anyway, they didn't pay the $50 to register the shares. Are you kidding me? And I gave a lawyer $10,000. Y'all told me everything was okay. And they begged me. They said, Lawrence, take the deal and your problem and go away. The people who want to take my technology. I refused to. The day of go to the hearing, they told me, plead no contest. I'm telling my lawyer, why am I pleading no contest? He said, did you read the papers? They talking about giving you 40 years. If you go into court, they're going to give you a non-adjudicated sentence and you'll never have a criminal record. I said, well, why am I pleading no contest? I go into court and they gave me 24 years. I wasn't supposed to be released until 2025. When I come out, I did almost 5 years. And while I was in there, I practiced law. I probably got about 30 people out of prison. And I was thinking and working because that's all I had to do to keep me going. That's all I knew was inventing. And then I come out and Raymond Sarlott, he kept every letter that I written to him while I was in there. And a guy, Fred Bastion, a famous writer in LA, we all got together. And now I pushed my things, my fire extinguisher, I created it. It helped me, and here I am today. And sometimes I ask myself, is it worth it? I lost my family. The day I got out of prison, my daughter's mother passed away with a heart attack. I couldn't even go to the funeral. So, and even today, come Monday is my birthday. I'm going to be in Washington, D.C. doing something major. And this is the greatest birthday gift I could ever ask for. And I appreciate you guys for giving Mullen this opportunity and me. You have no idea. There was people paying folks $10,000 to slander me, do all kinds of things to block this progress. And I took it and I made it. So now it's too late. It's in the right hands and the whole world is going to use it. And God, thank you for picking this country boy from Mississippi. And look forward tomorrow. More to come. and Monday in DC on my birthday, the biggest deal. And all this, I want you to tell you guys, it's not something we're working on. It's already been signed. So I want the people from DC to tell you what I've done. I love y'all. Thank you for taking the time out. And I'm sorry, I know grown men ain't supposed to cry, but these are tears of joy. And if I could do it all again, forget about all the billions, all I wish I had was my family. I wish I had them back. But it's too late and life goes on. I did what God asked me to do, and it's over with. Y'all be blessed.